You know, it was the FOMO of it all, the fear of missing out. You know, the whole, just, it was such a big event. It was more of based on the event of what was going on, than the actual performances. It was the whole hoopla of it all. You know, social media. You know, people want to be a part of something. People want to be cool. And that's what Fyre Festival gave to the everyday guy. It gave them that feeling of, you know what, I can be cool with this whole in crowd, and be a part of that all going to this festival. And I think that's what really, really sold the festival. See, the orange tile came about, it's something I had seen on Instagram many a times. Like people do like blackouts on Instagram, they do whiteouts, these different like, you know, promotional things. So I was like, it would be cool if we did like an orange out, if you would. And you know, we just, you know, take this little orange tile and put it up on the thing. And then everybody else's juices started kicking in on the idea. And they got to the idea, the point of, you know, well, let's get every influencer, and you know, it was my idea too, you know, let's get every influencer that has 1 million followers or more to post this orange tile on a specific day and time. And so if you're scrolling up your Instagram feed at that specific day and time, which everybody probably would have been around, you know, whatever, you've seen this orange tile from all of the biggest influencers on Instagram. It made people feel like, what the fuck is this?
My key takeaway from just watching how things unfolded on social media and then the documentaries, and I kind of alluded to this during my talk before, that people are brands today. Like people can easily be swayed by what another human being, like in this case, an influencer with millions of followers, posting an orange tile led to credit card swipes. So what I see that came out of this was Fyre Festival as a marketing culture taught us the perils of influencer marketing and how to go viral. So whatever way you want to look at, you know, the positives, you know, being it drove attention. The downside, obviously, being more of like on an operational and organizational sense. The business side, the festival actually didn't come to fruition. So what were the key learning lessons specifically around working with influencers?
Billy wanting to give Kendall $250,000 for a tweet. And I'm like, Billy, that's just ridiculous. Like, that's absolutely ridiculous. Why would you, you know, invest that kind of money into that? Trust me. She's the biggest thing. I didn't know the impact of that kind of influence. I didn't know a tweet could be, or Instagram post could be so influential, so big. But lo and behold, paid her the money, and she, you know, tweeted it out, and the next day it was more than it was already being talked about. It was the most talked about thing.
If you could speak to the audience about some of the misconceptions about Ja Rule, like what would you say from your standpoint that the public doesn't necessarily know?
Let me just put this in proper perspective for everybody here, or anybody that's maybe a creative in the room. It is one thing to create and have great ideas. It's another thing to bring those ideas to life. So I've met lots of people in my life that I've given ideas to, and they've said, these are amazing ideas, Ja, I can raise money, we can do this, we can do that. Never happened. When I met Billy, he was the first dude that I gave these ideas, these visions to, and he actually started raising the money. Now, granted, that was the crime, and that's what I want everybody to understand. The crime was Billy lied to investors, told them whatever he had to tell them to raise money, which is a terrible fucking thing. I don't know why he would do that, because we had a great thing going, and I believe that we could have grew this thing and it would have been an amazing company. Fast forward, he did that. So, you know, that to me is the most that's the misconception of this whole thing. I think people think that the festival itself was the crime. Like, we sat in a room together and said, "Ha, we're gonna scam everybody out of their money for this festival." And I'm like, that doesn't even make sense. You know what I'm saying? What's the end game for Ja Rule? Or anybody, you know, for that matter. So you know, I want people to understand that. The festival was actually we tried to put on the festival. Failed miserably, but it was an attempt to do something way out different that was never done before. And we didn't have the right partners. I didn't have the right partners. I didn't have the right people. And you know, sometimes that happens in business. And I think most business people understand that. I'm sure you guys understand that. You know, every business doesn't blow up in your face to this magnitude. You know, it doesn't get played out in media and everybody gets to see your mistakes and you know, the things that happen.
You know, I want to go back to addressing the team aspect, specifically because we have individuals in this room that run agencies.
Yeah.
They either work at an agency or they own an agency, and then they work with their clients, being brand partners. And oftentimes, the agency's making decisions on behalf of the client.
Right.
And or the client is telling the agency, like, look, we're going to do this campaign, or we're going to do this festival. You know, in your case, and this is how this is going to play out. And the client's just like, great, like, I'm cutting you a check. I'm paying you to do your job. So, like, how much of the blame would you cast of what happened at Fyre Festival on the marketing agency that you guys are working with?
You know, I'm gonna keep the blame here with me because I'm the person I gotta do it. I'm the guy that I have to look at in the mirror. And so for me, you know, I have to say I should have been more on top of it. I should have been more hands-on. I should have been, you know, and you know, like we talked about this last night. I'm Monday morning quarterbacking this thing right now because at the time while I'm in the fight, there wasn't much that I could have done to you know, whatever. But looking back on it, you wish that you could have done more, and I feel like if I would have gave more of an effort to do more, I could have probably, you know, prevented some of these things from happening. But reality is, it probably wasn't.
One of the things that you said to me last night was knowing your audience,
Yeah.
which I believe is critical. And I said that when I was on stage earlier. First of all, you have to know who you're trying to sell to in order to sell, and then you have to know what social networks to reach them on in order to sell them on those networks. So, like, you know, whether it's Fyre Festival, even Icon, what you're doing now, like, how important is it for you as a businessman to understand who your audience is?
Well, I mean, that's important to any product, right? You have to know who you're selling it to. If you don't know your audience, then, you know, it's with anything. It's with music, it's with retail, you know, what I'm doing with Icon. You have to know your consumer. And that was key to everything that led up to the disaster of Fyre Festival. Because Billy knew his consumer. He knew, you know, Billy is a young, smart kid, a little socially awkward, you know, wanted to be in the cool crowd. And he knows there's millions of kids just like him. He knew that. And he knew that they wanted what he wanted. The models, the lifestyle, the chill, hang out with the rappers. He knew that they wanted that too. And so he knew how to market to them. This is guys, you can come here and you can come to this beach and you can hang out with the models and hang out with the rappers and this is gonna be amazing. And you know, he wanted it to be that too. I believe he did, but he took bad steps in making his dream and my vision come to life. Sometimes a spotlight is a spotlight. And sometimes you need the spotlight, no matter how it comes out to shine, so that you can show people just how great you are. And I think, you know, this spotlight that hit the Fyre Festival and hit me, it was a black eye. It hurt. You know, it hurt because I wanted it to be an amazing thing. You know, but it is also now the most talked about thing. It's the most viral thing. It's the biggest festival that never was. So with that spotlight, you know, you have to use it to do the right thing.